Hi everybody, this is Jim Tell Evans with another edition of JAG Insider, a program that focuses on Valley Center High athletics and is part of the sports programming here at Valley Center Television. Today we are excited and pleased to have in studio three-sport star Brock Moffitt, who has starred in football, wrestling, and baseball. So with that serving as an intro, let's bring him in. Hi everybody, I'm Jim Evans. Welcome to this latest installment of JAG Insider, where we concentrate on Valley Center High athletics. It's part of the sports programming we have here on Valley Center TV, and we're very pleased and happy to have in studio Brock Moffitt. Brock has carved an incredible athletic legacy up at Valley Center High, offensive player of the year in the Valley League for football, tremendous champion wrestler. In addition to being a standout baseball player, he has just really done some remarkable things up on the hill, and we're very happy to have him here. Brock, thanks so much for stopping by.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. First thing I wanted to ask you is, as your high school career is kind of winding down and your high school experience as well, are you a little bit wistful? Is it a little bit bittersweet now that it's coming to an end, or are you kind of focused on the next phase in your life, going to college? What's your perspective on that?
A little bit of bittersweet because I lived in Valley Center my whole entire life, been through same house, same room, no moving, gone through the whole entire Valley Center school system, so I'm going to have a lot of memories here. But I'm looking forward to going to UC Davis and playing baseball out there. It's going to be a really cool experience. I'm definitely going to miss the high school and the coaches around it. Coach Gilster, Coach Cal, Coach Dunkel, Coach West Jones, wrestling coach,
Sure.
and Coach Egan, all were really good coaches. Taught us how to actually be respectful and to play hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good experience for me.
I can imagine. When I first started this gig with the Roadrunner, about a year and a half ago, I guess. I remember when I talked to Coach Gilster before the 2015 football season kicked off, and I asked him who would be a good guy to focus on as far as a feature story. He told me two guys, Nico Hernandez and you, and I think that really spoke of how highly he valued you as a football player going into your junior year, not even your senior year. Let's talk a little about the season. The football season just passed. An incredible year. You guys went 10-2.
Yeah.
A lot of people were not sure how well you would do, but what was so phenomenal is you guys continually pulled games out at the very end. I mean, in overtime, late, whenever you needed to produce a key drive, you were able to do so. Talk a little bit about that mindset and what made that team so special and able to do that.
Well, it first started with all of our seniors. Coach Gilster and Coach Cal and Coach Stout led us through a leadership program. They basically just taught us good leadership skills and how to apply it towards your team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that definitely helped out a lot. It just basically it started with the seniors to teach the younger guys, because we had loads of sophomores and juniors because we were senior. We didn't have a lot of seniors.
Right.
But we had a good group of seniors, which made everything perfect.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, it was a little rocky because the younger guys obviously have not been exposed to varsity speed or bigger guys and just everything that comes with varsity football. So the beginning of the season was a little wake-up call.
Right.
Coach Gilster definitely was reaming on us for losing 35-0, but after that we won 10 straight.
Yep.
And then we lost to Bishops in the finals. It happened almost the same thing happened in the first half, and then second half we just came out to play. We shut them out the second half, and then we scored 19 points. So I think it sucked that we lost, but it definitely didn't put a bad note on the season. We definitely ended on a good one.
Yeah, and speaking of that game, the one thing that I'll always remember about that game is you guys had an early drive, and Belcher was right down there on the goal line. Kind of controversial whether he got in or not. I always kind of thought that the tenor of the game could have changed if you guys would have scored first.
Definitely. That's just a matter of doing your job and actually sacrificing to make that happen. Coach Gilster always made us don't let the refs distinguish whether the call is whether you score or not. You have to make it so obvious that they can't do anything about it.
Right.
You just score.
No controversy about it. It's definitely whether you got in or out. Well, let's talk about you. I mean, a two-way performer. I mean, outstanding H-back, great linebacker. Talk about playing both ways. I mean, to me, it would seem it would be kind of very taxing, and stamina would come in. But you always stood out. Never seemed to wear down. But take us through playing on both sides of the ball.
Playing on both sides of the ball was it was definitely hard, but it was doable, and I didn't like coming off of the field, so I like to stay busy. And leading on both sides of the ball was awesome. I loved it, every minute of it.
One thing that I always really, I mean, we talk about these great comebacks that you guys staged last year. You always seem to come up with a clutch catch when the team needed it, clutch touchdown. You were very inspirational, and almost kind of like that security blanket for KJ Mazzetti as a young quarterback. But what about this ability to perform at a high level when it matters the most? How were you able to do that?
That's just mostly our team's attitude. Like we didn't feel pressured at all. We didn't put our heads down. We just kept grinding every single play, and good things will happen because the other team will relax, and if you keep going, you're gonna find a weakness, and you're gonna go score. So we just kind of kept our minds straight. We didn't really put our heads down at all. We just kind of kept working.
Now, I know a lot of people didn't expect that kind of record out of you guys because there were a lot of younger players. Were you at all surprised ultimately how well you guys did, finishing with a record of 10-2? I mean, that's pretty spectacular. 10 in a row is hard to do.
After the first loss, I was kind of just like, dang, like this is gonna be a long season. But then, as we started practicing more and more, I could see it like clicking every single day that we were getting better and better and better, rather than staying the same. Like other teams will start out really good and just stay good. Well, we started out like with not the best start,
right?
And then we just kept going and going and going, getting better every week. So that definitely says a lot about our team's character.
Yeah, it does, and the team definitely did improve incrementally week to week. That was very obvious to anybody that got to see you guys play quite a bit. Let's transition a little bit now into your wrestling. I mean, when you were a sophomore, you won the CIF championship at 145 pounds. The following year, you finished second in the 160 category. Why wrestling? What attracted you to wrestling, and what were you able to be so proficient at that sport?
I started wrestling I first got exposed to wrestling when I was in like 7th grade. I actually really liked it then because they said it would help me with football, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll try that sport out. And I ended up falling in love with it. Did it 7th, 8th grade year with like the Escondido club team for kids because Valley Center didn't have one. And then my freshman year, I broke my foot in football, so I was basically out my whole freshman year. And then half of the wrestling year. So that kind of set me back a little bit. But the next season was definitely one of the better ones.
Let me ask you this: Can skills from either wrestling or football translate to the other sport? Can one help you in the other?
Oh, definitely. I think I don't like it when people just stick to one sport because that's how a lot of people are raised nowadays. They just specialize in one sport. When I was brought up to play 3 sports, as many sports as you want, because little bits of things will help you. Just character-wise and physically.
The one thing that I really admired you about in your wrestling career was the fact that a lot of times in a wrestling match you can get way ahead and then kind of play it conservative, not be super aggressive. That never affected you. You were always trying for the pin. You were relentless. Why that mindset? I mean, a lot of guys would be a lot more cautious and prudent when they were way ahead as far as the point total was concerned. But you never seemed to let up. That seemed to be your mindset, and it really worked for you. And that was why you were a crowd favorite up there.
Really, it was just not having. Coach West always said, "Be aggressive, do your thing, and just be like fluent with every single movement you have and be perfect with every single move." I didn't really think like I would obviously know the score, but I didn't really think like, oh, I'm gonna, if I do this I'm gonna get pinned. But I would just focus on not putting myself in bad positions and being the best I could do, like with the good positions I had.
Yeah, it was really impressive, and like I say, you were a feast for the eyes because you would continue to get at it no matter what the score was. Okay, let's transition now into baseball. You're an outstanding left-handed pitcher. Talk a little bit about your baseball career up at VC, and And when you're not pitching, you're either playing first base or an outfield, and you're a very good hitter, hitting well over 300 this year. So talk about both and what you like about being a positional player as well as a pitcher.
Well, I've always loved pitching. I've been playing baseball since I was 4. It started ever since I was in like minor Bs, because that's when they allowed you to actually pitch. So I've been pitching ever since I was like probably 6 or 8. Yeah, I really love baseball, and that's part of the reason why I chose to go to baseball in college and pitch versus to go play football at another one. I think I can get drafted and actually have like a future in baseball, and that's been my goal since day one.
Okay.
So I definitely want to chase my dream over that one.
All right. Well, look, I mean, I've seen you pitch multiple times. You've got a great heater, a lot of zip on the fastball. You got a great bending curveball. You do an excellent job of setting up hitters. There's no question that you have the facility to do that. So you have a full or a half ride to UC Davis
Yes.
as a baseball player.
That's correct.
Okay, up there, will you be exclusively pitching, or will you also be a positional player at times?
They recruited me for pitching, but I could end up doing both pitching and like outfield or just pitching or hitting. It's really whatever the coaches like see from me and whatever they want me to do, I'm gonna do that.
Okay. Now I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I've always admired your football talent. And to be honest with you, it was a little bit surprising to me that you weren't going to play beyond the high school level. I mean, you can be dominant. You've just got that it factor. I've seen a lot of kids in high school and college. I definitely think you could play at the next level. Why the decision not to play football?
I got interest from a couple D1s and D2s. I didn't, because my brother played football for Valparaiso, USD's rival.
Sure.
So
Indiana.
Yep, Indiana.
Know it well.
Yep. He had a lot of concussions and there's a lot of wear and tear on his body. And I was talking to him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, it's just kind of a lot of wear and tear on my body. Like, he is still really sensitive to bright lights and stuff, and I just didn't want that happening to me."
Okay.
Plus, I really love baseball, and I eventually want to go into the major leagues to pitch. So I definitely went with baseball because of that.
Well, based on what I've seen, you certainly have the potential, not only physically, but from a maturity standpoint to pursue that dream. Let's talk really quickly about why you didn't wrestle this season.
Part of it was just I wanted to keep my weight up and to just train in the off season, lift weights, throw, run, just basically building up before the season started. Because when you first get done with wrestling, it's right into baseball. Like if I wrestled this year, I would have got done with Masters, and if I made it to state, I wouldn't have even seen the first game. I wouldn't have pitched that game, and I would have just started throwing.
Right.
Like already a week into the season. So I definitely wanted to get my arm in shape before the season, and I think it's helped a lot.
Looking back on your experience at Valley Center, you kind of touched on it earlier, but maybe 2 or 3 memories that you'll have in a particular game, particular teammate, coaches. I know that's kind of putting you on the spot, but or just your overall impression of what it was like playing for Coach Gilster and Coach Jones and Coach Egan and the guys, the friendships that you've cultivated up there. Just your overall sense of what it was like to be a Jaguar, and a very impressive one over these years.
Being a Jaguar was definitely one of the greatest experiences of my life. Ever since I was a freshman, I met Coach Cal, I met Coach Gilster. I've known Coach Gilster ever since I was like 5, and same with Coach Dunkel. They've known me ever since I was little. They know I was really competitive, and but it was a really good experience having them as coaches, and they taught me a lot. Actually, they're absolutely great coaches.
How about teammates? Anybody that you really felt a true bond with over the last couple of years?
Yeah, Daniel Belcher, definitely. He's one of my best friends, and same with Micah Wairinga. But pretty much our whole entire team, like we all pretty much thought of each other as like brothers, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, I really enjoyed having the opportunity to watch you play in multiple sports the last 2 years, and I think you're going to go on and do some impressive things. And really appreciate you taking the time to stop by and spending a little time with us. Always great visiting with you.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Brock. Take care.
Take care.